The Circumspector, Part 1. The man who steps back. Circumspection is learned, not inherited. Chapter 1. The first thing he avoided. He arrived early, which already placed him outside the system's expectations. The building was a public hospital, though the word public had long since lost its meaning. It rose from the pavement like an apology wrapped in glass, transparent, modern, efficient. Nothing about it suggested danger. That was the first lie. The circumspector stood across the street and watched the doors. They slid open and closed with obedient rhythm. People entered carrying paperwork, expressions prearranged for patients. People exited lighter, heavier, quieter. No one looked surprised. That was the second lie. He did not cross. Not yet. He checked the time on a watch that never connected to anything. 7 minutes early. Systems hate that. They prefer arrivals that justify delay. He had learned this years ago, long before he began to wander, back when he still believed that compliance was a form of protection. Back when he thought participation implied care. He remembered another building. Older. Less glass. More certainty. He remembered being told to wait. The waiting had been framed as necessary. Standard procedure. A phrase that never explained itself because it never had to. It had sounded reasonable then. Now he understood waiting as leverage. Across the street, a man in a security jacket adjusted his stance. Not watching him. Watching the entrance. Watching for disruption. The circumspector cataloged it and let it pass. He stepped forward, then stopped again. The first thing he ever avoided had not been a person. Or a place. It had been a signature. Years ago, a form had been placed in front of him. A benign document. Consent language softened by reassurance. He had read it slowly. Too slowly. The doctor had stopped speaking. The silence had lasted just long enough to become uncomfortable. Then the doctor had smiled, not impatiently, but carefully, as though managing a variable. "You can sign at the bottom," the doctor had said. He had asked a question instead. Not a challenge. Not an accusation. Just a clarification. The kind of question forms were supposed to answer. The doctor had looked down at the page, then away. The smile had not returned. That was when the circumspector understood that the outcome existed before the consent. The signature was not permission. It was insulation. He had not signed. The consequences had been immediate, though no one named them as such. Delays, rerouting, a subtle withdrawal of enthusiasm. The system did not punish refusal overtly. It reframed it as inefficiency. He had left that building alive but altered. Across the street now, the hospital doors opened again. A woman emerged holding a folder to her chest, knuckles white, expression blank. She paused, looked around as if orienting herself, then walked away without looking back. The circumspector crossed the road. Inside, the air was filtered and neutral. Scentless by design. Directional signs guided bodies without requiring thought. The reception desk stood at the center like an altar to procedure. He joined the line and waited. When it was his turn, the receptionist smiled. The smile had been calibrated. Friendly, but not personal. She asked for his name. He gave one that would expire by morning. She typed. Frowned slightly. Typed again. "It's not pulling up," she said. "I'm early," he replied. She nodded, relieved. Early explained everything. She created a new entry. The system adapted. She slid a clipboard toward him. "Just fill out what you can," she said. He scanned the form. Familiar architecture. Binary answers to complex states. Boxes that assumed continuity. Questions designed not to gather truth, but to assign category. He filled it out carefully. Not incorrectly. Precisely. He left one section blank. The receptionist noticed immediately. "You missed a page," she said. "No," he replied. Her fingers hovered over the clipboard. "That section is required." "Required for what?" he asked. The question landed without force. That was its power. She blinked. "For processing." "Processing what?" She hesitated. "Not long." just long enough. For moving forward, he nodded. Then I won't. The smile faded. Not entirely. Enough to reveal the effort beneath it. I'll need to check with my supervisor, she said. Of course, she stood. The clipboard stayed on the desk. He did not touch it. People behind him shifted. The line became aware of itself. Systems rely on social pressure to enforce compliance. He felt it, acknowledged it, ignored it. The supervisor arrived quickly. Authority always does. He was polite, calm. He spoke in policy language, each sentence pre-approved. This is standard intake, the supervisor said. Without it, we can't proceed. Proceed with what? The circumspector asked. With care, the words sat between them, fragile. The circumspector looked past the supervisor, down the corridor where patients moved on gurneys, eyes fixed on ceilings designed to distract. Care, he repeated. The supervisor nodded, eager. Agreement was progress. Then I'll leave, the circumspector said. Confusion rippled. That was not an expected outcome. Systems are designed around escalation, not exit. You're already here, the supervisor said gently. We can resolve this. I know, the circumspector said. That's why I'm leaving. He turned before further options could be offered. Options were traps. As he walked out, he felt it. The shift. The system recalculating. A variable removed before it could be categorized. Outside, the glass reflected his outline briefly, then released it. Across the street, he stopped and looked back. Nothing had changed. That was the point. The first thing he had avoided had been a signature. But the lesson had expanded. Avoidance was not escape. It was refusal to consent to invisible harm. He adjusted his coat and began to walk. Not away from the hospital. Alongside it. Toward the next institution that would mistake his patience for ignorance. Somewhere, data would register an anomaly. A partial record. An incomplete process. It would not matter yet. But systems remember what does not fit. And they do not like it. Chapter 2. The cost of asking twice. The office was designed to calm people. Muted colors. Low ceilings. Soft lighting that eliminated shadows. Nothing sharp. Nothing confrontational. Even the chairs curved gently, as if to reassure the body that resistance would not be required. The circumspector noticed immediately what was missing. There were no clocks. He took a seat and placed his folder on his lap. It contained nothing that mattered. The important documents were already elsewhere, distributed, abstracted, buried inside systems that preferred not to be examined closely. Across from him, a row of glass offices formed a corridor of authority. Inside them, people worked quietly, faces illuminated by screens. No one looked rushed. No one looked idle. Productivity without urgency. Control without effort. A placard on the wall read, Case Review Unit. He had been referred here after declining to complete a secondary disclosure form. The referral had been framed as supportive. Just a conversation. Just to clarify a few things. He had agreed because refusal too early created friction. Friction drew attention. Attention arrived before context. He waited. A woman emerged from one of the offices and called his name. Not the real one. The temporary one. She pronounced it carefully, as if confirming something internal. He followed her into a small room with 2 chairs and a desk. No window. No personal items. A neutral space, designed to belong to no one. She introduced herself as a compliance officer. Her voice was even. Practiced. I understand there were some incomplete responses on your intake, she said. Yes, he replied. She smiled. That happens sometimes. We just need to understand why. The circumspector nodded. He did not volunteer information. Systems interpret silence as invitation. She tapped on a tablet. You declined to answer the disclosure regarding long-term consent parameters. That's correct. May I ask why? He waited a moment before answering. Not to be evasive. To observe. I didn't understand the question, he said. She looked up. Which part? All of it. Her smile adjusted. Slightly tighter now. It's standard language. I know. Then what was unclear? The outcome, he said. She paused. Not long enough to be alarming. Just long enough to signal recalibration. The disclosure simply allows us to proceed efficiently, she said. It ensures continuity of care. Care for whom? He asked. For you, he asked the question again, differently this time. And who else? She blinked. That was the first visible crack. Well, she said, choosing her words carefully. The system, he nodded. He always nodded when someone told the truth accidentally. And what does the system require my consent for? He asked. She leaned back slightly. Not defensively. Strategically. Data sharing. Risk assessment. Future eligibility. Eligibility for what? For services. Which ones? She smiled again, but this time it did not reach her eyes. That depends. On what? On a number of factors. He waited. She filled the silence. Health indicators. Compliance history. Behavioral patterns. Mine? And comparable profiles. That was the first time she used the plural. He leaned forward slightly. What happens if I decline? Her response was immediate. Too immediate. Nothing, she said. That was the lie. He did not challenge it. He asked again. What happens if I decline? The room changed. Not physically. Procedurally. She looked at her tablet, though nothing new appeared on it. As I said, nothing. You're free to leave. But, he said. But, she echoed, then stopped herself. He waited. But, she continued. Your case may take longer to process. How much longer? That depends. On what? She exhaled slowly. On resource availability, which is influenced by? She looked at him now. Really looked. As if trying to determine whether he understood what he was doing. Compliance, she said. There it was. He nodded again. So declining has consequences, he said. Not consequences, she corrected quickly. Implications. What's the difference? She did not answer immediately. Behind the glass walls outside the room, movement had slowed. People were no longer pretending not to watch. The compliance officer straightened. You're asking the same question repeatedly, she said. I'm asking it differently, he replied. Why? Because the answers keep changing. Her jaw tightened. Just slightly. The system requires clarity, she said. It requires consent, he said. Yes, but not understanding. Her fingers tapped the tablet. A nervous habit she hadn't meant to reveal. I need to escalate this, she said. Of course, she stood and left the room. The circumspector remained seated. This was the cost of asking twice. Not punishment. Delay. Escalation. Attention. Systems did not respond to resistance with force. They responded with procedure. A man entered 5 minutes later. Senior. His suit was expensive but understated. Authority preferred subtlety here. I'm told you're having difficulty with our process, he said. No, the circumspector replied. I'm having difficulty with your answers, the man smiled. We aim to be transparent. Then answer one question, the circumspector said. If I consent today, what am I consenting to tomorrow? The smile held for a moment. Then it vanished. That's not how consent works, the man said. That's exactly how it works, the circumspector replied. Silence stretched. Finally, the man spoke. You're free to leave. I know. You may return when you're ready to proceed. I won't, the man nodded, already disengaging. Then this file will remain open. For how long? As long as necessary. The circumspector stood. That's the problem. He left the office without incident. No one followed him. There was no need. The system had done what it needed to do. Outside, the street noise returned. Life resumed its pace. No alarms, no confrontation. Behind him, a digital file remained incomplete. Flagged. Deferred. Noted. Somewhere in the building, an internal metric adjusted slightly. An outlier recorded. A friction point acknowledged. The Circumspector walked on. Asking twice never shut a system down. It taught it to remember you.